Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on August 18th, 2018. If you like to play my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. I have 7 strategies with my game Decoding the Powerball. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to demonstrate on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 12, 15, 28, 47, and 48. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And then I transfer the last 3 drawings of numbers because it matches up with this red area right here. And I transfer these numbers over to the game card as red numbers. Then I'll do the same thing with the orange area, the green, the blue, and the purple. I have 5 different colors, one to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so how this works is, again, there's 69 white ball numbers total. I divided them among 5 colors, which equals 13.8. Okay, so my goal is to get to as close as 13 or 14 numbers per color, per drawing. Okay, so for this drawing here, I have 14 red numbers, 14 orange, 11 green, 12 blue, and 18 purple numbers. And the number of colors change with every drawing. Okay, so over here to the right is 255. This tells me how many color code drawings I kept track of so far. And again, these are the color code drawings. Okay, so out of this 255 drawings, 134 drawings have come up a 3-color combination. 87 drawings have come up a 4-color combination. 25 drawings have come up a 2-color combination, and only 9 times out of 255 drawings have all 5 colors come up together, and never has it been just 1 color. Okay, so this number 2 right here in the middle, this tells me how many colors just came up in the last drawing. So you can see that there was 2 purple numbers and 3 green numbers for 2 colors total. Okay, so what I tried to do here is I tried to correctly guess what the next number will be. Okay, so more than half the time, it does come up a 3-color combination. Okay, so the overall strategy, though, is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so again, there's 69 numbers total. Only 5 numbers could come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. Okay, so for me, I just think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, so to help me out with that, I'm going to turn to how all 5 colors hardly ever come up together. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these color groups won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so for this drawing here, as I look at things from this point down to this point, I just see lots of green in between here. Okay, so my guess is that no green numbers will be coming up. Okay, so the thing about my game is we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. Okay, you may look at it and say, no, I don't think any orange numbers are going to come up or whatnot. Okay, but for me, I don't think any green numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so like this 23 is a green number. What I'm going to do is I'm going to block that out like that. Okay, so to speed things up, I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far with no green numbers to it. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the Power Play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these green numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these green numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, So I'm going to go back for 1 second, or actually you can look at the top. There's 11 green numbers total, so I just eliminated 11 numbers from the 69, okay? And again, if I'm correct with that, then I just reduced the odds a little bit for myself, okay? So I'm off to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers, okay? And how this works is up at the very top is the master for each individual number, okay? And over here to the right are the numbers that just came up in the drawing. Again, it's the 12, 15, 28, 47, and 48. So that turns out to be a 3-group combination, okay? So I'm going to reduce this down so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, and what you're going to see is that I divided the 69 numbers into 7 different groups, okay? So group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9, and this is the only group with 9 numbers, and then the other 6 groups have 10 numbers to it, okay? So the next group is 10 through 19, and then it's the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Again, for 7 groups total, okay? So there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So that means that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'll show you how I use this, okay? So this big square right here, this is good for 5 drawings. And the reason why I break it down into 5 is for a couple of reasons. One, as I go through the history of things, it's easier to count going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on, okay? But the other reason why I do it is because if there's a lot of hits within this certain group of numbers, okay, for this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, okay? So that's my theory on things, all right? So again, the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers. So as I look at this, the average number is 3 hits out of these 5 drawings, okay? So this 40s is already above average. It already has 5 hits to it. So my guess is that no 40 numbers are going to come up, okay? But again, we all look at this a little bit differently. And you may look at it and say, no, I don't think any teen numbers are going to come up, okay? But for me, I don't think any 40 numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to blow this back up. I'll show you another way that I use this, okay? One way is I could highlight like a certain number, like the 15, and I could go down to see what colors haven't come up yet, okay? So you can see that a blue number hasn't come up yet in this 15 at all, okay? So when it gets to the blue area, when that 15 gets to the blue area, maybe I'll consider taking it as a blue number just because the blue hasn't come up in a very long time, okay? So another way I use this is I try to correctly guess how many groups are going to be hit, okay? So this last group of numbers was 3 groups hit, okay? So the 12 and the 15 are in one group, the teen group, okay? And the 28's in a group on its own, and the 47 and 48 are in its own group as well. So that's 3 groups total, okay? So a 3 and 4 come up the most, okay? A 5 comes up every now and again, and a 2 will come up every once in a blue moon, okay? But I've never seen a 1 before, okay? So I'll show you a 2, and this means that the 22 and 23 are in one group, and the 62, 63, and 66 are in the 60 group for 2 groups total, okay? So again, I've never seen a 1 where all 5 winning numbers were all 60 numbers or 40 numbers or whatnot, okay? So I'm sure it will happen someday, it just hasn't happened yet. Okay, so again, the majority of the time, it's either a 3 or a 4 that comes up. And my guess is that this will probably be a 3 because I haven't seen a 3 in a little while here. Okay, so I think there's going to be a run on 3s here. So that means when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, I want it to represent 3 groups. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Whoops, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to the game card. and I'm going to scroll to the right here. So this is what the game card looks like with no green numbers from the color code. And I'm going to scroll to the right to speed things up. And now you can see that none of these 40 numbers are here as well. Okay, because I don't think any 40 numbers will be coming up. Okay, so again, if I made the correct guess here and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so now I'm off to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 3, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the numbers and divided it into 4 different groups, and then I put colors to these groups. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerball numbers come up, I record where they land within these groups, and I record it down here in the stats. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that came up were the 12, 15, 28, 47, and 48. So as I go back here, you can see that there's a 2 in the red area, okay? And that stands for the 12 and the 28, okay? Those represent that 2 right down here. Okay, so there's one winning number in the blue area, and that was the 15, okay? And there was no winning Powerball numbers in this orange area at all, okay? So that means that there was 2 winning Powerball numbers in the green area, and that was the 47 and 48, okay? So that represents all 5 winning Powerball numbers, okay? So you can see that there was, again, no winning numbers in this orange area, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to pop up, okay? So if I could have correctly guessed that none of these orange numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, I could have gotten rid of all these orange numbers and gave myself a much better chance at picking the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers, okay? So I have 15 of these option cards, and this is option card number 1. So you can see where the red numbers are here, okay? And then in option card number 2, you can see where the red numbers are over here. So they're a little bit different from each other, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm breaking these numbers out into different groups, and then trying to predict correctly if this group of numbers is going to come up or not come up in the drawing. Okay, so I'm going to make a pick so I can show you how things work here. Okay, and again, I have 15 of these option cards, and I'm going to go with this option card number 3, no green numbers here. Okay, and the reason why I'm picking this one is you can see that there's a bunch of single zeros here, okay? And every once in a while, these zeros double up, like right over here, okay? So you can see here that there's 17 of these single zeros here, okay? So here we go at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Okay, so I just think that it's due to double up like this, okay? And if that happens, then that means that none of these green numbers will be coming up, okay? So that's what I hope will happen, okay? So I'm going to eliminate these green numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm back here at the game card here, okay? And you can read underneath the individual numbers, no 40 numbers, okay? So now I'm going to scroll to the right, and you can see that all these numbers are gone here in the green area. Okay, so what I want to do is point out these numbers here to the left. Okay, you can see that the 8, 19, 25, 53, and 58 are over here to the left side. Okay, and the reason why they are is because this 8 actually shares the square with the 66, the 19 with the 67, the 25 with the 65, the 53 with the 69, and the 58 with the 68. Okay, so what that means is as I go back to group 1 here, okay, again, I'm getting rid of all these green numbers here, okay, on option card number 3. Okay, so that means that the 53 and the 58 are in here as well. So when I get rid of this group of numbers, I'm also getting rid of the 53 and the 58 as well. Okay, so even though you can't see them, they're there. Okay, and when I eliminate them over here. Okay, so the reason why I have these numbers over here to the left on the game card is because of the color code. Okay, so you can see that this 25 shares the square with the 65. The 65 is orange, but the 25 is blue. Okay, so if I got rid of all the orange numbers, I would get rid of the 65, but the 25 would still be in play. Now, if I got rid of all these numbers as a group, then I'm going to get rid of the 25 and the 65 again as a group. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to make another pick. And my next pick is option card number 11, no blue numbers. Okay, so again, I have 15 of these option cards. And the reason why is because I want as many options as possible to try to pick out where these zeros are going to pop up. Okay, so I don't think any blue numbers are going to come up. And the reason why, and again, we're all going to look at this differently, but the reason why I'm picking it is because this 1 right here seems to come up a lot. Okay, so as I go down through, you can see here's another 1 over here, a 1, okay, down here's a 1, okay. So the thing is that here's a 1 over here. The thing is with this blue area, there hasn't been a 1 that has come up since way down here, okay. So as I scroll back up, you can see there hasn't been a 1 in a long time, and I just think that it's due to happen like this, okay. So in order for a 1 to be there, there has to be another 0 above here, okay? So that's what I hope is going to happen, okay? So that means I don't believe that any of these blue numbers are going to be coming up. So I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so as I go back to the game card here, I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, and you can see that all those blue numbers are gone now from option card number 11, okay? So I'm going to go back for one last pick, and that's option card number 14, no orange numbers. Okay, so again, I have 15 of these option cards total. Now, the reason why I'm picking this orange is because every once in a while, the zeros will triple up or even quadruple up, okay? So as I go down through this orange area, you can see that this is a triple right here, and 1 right here, okay? And that's it, okay? So for a lot of these other columns here, a triple 0 like this has come up 3 or 4 times, okay? And this one in the orange has only come up twice, so I just have a gut feeling that it's going to happen again, okay? So I think it's due to happen again, so I think there's going to be a 0 here, which means I don't believe that any of these orange numbers will be coming up in the drawing, okay? So I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And again, you can read underneath, Group 1, option card number 14, no orange numbers. So this is what the game card looks like so far, okay? So there's a difference between the orange numbers of the game card, okay, which are still alive here, and the orange numbers that are on this option card 14, okay? So I don't want you to get confused with that, okay? So I'm just dividing these into groups of numbers, and these orange numbers just happen to be orange, okay? But when I go to the game card, you can see that there's still orange numbers here, but that's different because this is from the color code, okay? So I hope that makes sense to you as well, okay? So I'm all done picking from group 1. That's all I feel comfortable picking at. So I'm off to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers, okay? So much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups, okay? So I just want a different look at things, okay? So again, you can see that there's 8 color groups here, okay? And there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'll show you how this works here. I'm going to point out this red area. Okay, so down here you can see in the stats, you can see that there was 3 zeros and then a 2 and a 1. Okay, so I like to keep track of every 5 drawings because it will show me a majority of things. Okay, so here the majority is misses. Okay, 3 misses in a row. Okay, so when that happens, when the majority is misses, I color the background blue for cold. The next one down, you can see that there was 3 hits, so the majority is hits. So when that happens, I color the background red for hot. Okay, so the reason why I do that is because I know that the lottery is so random. I know that nothing can stay cold forever, and I know that nothing can stay hot forever. Okay, so as an example, you can see that things were really hot right here. Okay, now I know it can't stay hot forever, so I just have to correctly guess when it's going to turn cold. Okay, so as I get down here, I'm going to make a prediction here. Okay, so the reason why I have 3 colors down here, I got blue and red and yellow. The yellow is, it's on the fence here. I got 2 hits, 2 misses. What do you think it's going to be? Do you think on the next drawing, do you think that this is going to be blue, or do you think it's going to be red? Okay, same with here, here, and here. Okay, so nobody knows. It's just a guess. Okay, so for me, I'm looking at this, and I think that this is going to be blue right here. Okay, so I'll show you a visual. Okay, something like this. All right, so now the reason why I think it's going to be blue, that means that I think there'll be a 0 here like this. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right, so I don't think any of these purple numbers are going to be coming up. Okay, so again, here's the stats for the purple right here. Okay, so as I go down through, you can see that things were kind of like 50-50 back and forth with hot and cold. And then it got really hot. And then it cooled down just a little bit. And then it got really hot again. And now I think it's going to cool back off again. Okay, so again, I think there's going to be a 0 here. And if there's a 0 there, then that means that none of these purple numbers will be coming up. Okay, so that's what I hope happens. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And again, you can read underneath, Group 2, option card number 1, no purple numbers. And you can see that there's no purple numbers here. Okay, so hopefully that happens. Hopefully no purple numbers will come up. Okay, so I'm back to Group 2 here. So again, I want to point out on how I use this. So I'm going to go back to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers are the 12, 15, 28, 47, and 48. Okay, so as I go down through, you can see that the 12 was green, the 15 was gray, the 28 was green, and the 47 was gray, and the 48 is yellow. So I have 2 green numbers, 2 gray numbers, and a yellow number. Okay, so as I go down through, you can see that there was a 0, 0, 0, and then in the green, I have those 2 green numbers here, and nothing in the purple, nothing in the brown, 2 in the gray, and 1 in the yellow for 3 groups total. So I wrote that down right here, 3. Okay, so the reason why this is green is because the majority of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers are over here to the right side. Okay, you got 2 in the gray and 1 in the yellow for the majority of being over here. Okay, so when I color something red, that means that the majority of the 5 winning Powerball numbers were over here to the left side. Okay, and you can see that there was only 2 over here to the left side, 3 over here to the right. Okay, so the majority is the right side, and that's why it gets a green mark. Okay, so now I can look at this and try to predict what the majority will be. Okay, so this is all geared up for you to make a decision. Okay, and the decision is this going to hit or miss? Okay, so it's kind of like watching sports where you bet on what team is going to win or what team is going to lose. This is kind of like the same thing where you look at it and say which is going to hit and which is going to miss. Okay, so kind of the same principle. Okay, so I'm off to my next one, okay? And that's option card number 3, no blue numbers. Okay, so here you can see it's yellow again, okay? I think there's going to be another 0 right here. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so this is the blue area. And as I head down through, you can see that things are kind of like 50-50 here. And then it got really hot and kind of stayed hot. And now I think it's going to start to cool off. Okay, so that means I don't believe that any of these blue numbers will be coming up. Okay, so the only one left is the 17. Oops, I kind of wrote 2 purples here. Okay, so now you can see that 17 is gone here, okay? So I'm going to go back to group 2 for another pick. And my next pick is option card number 9, no brown numbers. So I have 15 of these option cards as well, and they all kind of look the same as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so I'm getting rid of the brown numbers, and that's the 9 and the 20 and the 6 and the 31. Okay, so the 9 and the 20, okay, 6 and 31, and this is the only one here that I'm going to get rid of, okay? So as I scroll over, you can see that 20 number's gone now, okay? So if I'm correct, that's just one more number that I'm going to eliminate, okay? And hopefully I eliminated all the correct numbers, okay? And if I did, then the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers have to be one of these colored numbers still left on the game card, okay? So I'm going to go back to group 2 for another pick, and that's option card number 10, no gray numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 10. Here's the gray stats. And you can see that things were pretty hot right from the get-go, okay? They cooled down a little bit here, but then they heated back up. And now I think it's going to cool off, okay? So I'm expecting this to be blue. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here, okay? So we'll see what happens. And the numbers are the 17 and 28 for all 4 squares here, okay? So the only one left is the 32. So as I scroll over to the left, you can see that 32 is gone. Okay, so hopefully that number won't come up, all right? So I'm going to go back to group 2, and my next pick is going to be option card number 12, no gray numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the gray, and as I head down through, you can see that things are pretty cold overall. And then they heated up and heated up and heated up, and now I think it's going to start to turn cold again. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here, which will turn this to a blue, okay? So that's what I think is going to happen, okay? Nobody knows. I don't know. It's just a guess, okay? But I'm going to guess that none of these gray numbers will be coming up. So I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so as I go through, the only one left is this 26. So as I scroll to the left, you can read underneath group 2, option card number 12, no gray numbers, and now that 26 is gone. Okay, so I'm going to go back for one last pick here, and that's option card number 15, no red numbers. Okay, so here's option card 15. Here's the red area, and as I head down through, you can see that things are kind of like 50-50, back and forth with hot and cold, okay? But then it started to really heat up here, okay? And then it got really hot, all right? So I think it's just going to stay cold. I think there's going to be a 0 right here, which means I don't believe that any of these red numbers will be coming up, okay? So I want to get rid of them. And the only 2 left are the 3 and the 39. So as I head down through, you can see that the 3 and the 39 are gone now. Okay, so that's all I'm going to pick for the numbers that I don't believe are going to come up. Excuse me. And what it is again, I started off with 69 white ball numbers, okay? And if I made all the correct picks and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card, okay? So again, I started off with 69 white ball numbers, and now I'm down to 1, 2, 3, and 3 is 6, and 3 is 9 numbers, okay? So again, if I made all the correct picks, I just reduced my odds a ton if none of these blocked out numbers come up, okay? So I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 5, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. Okay, so I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing, okay? So how this works is so far I kept track of 299 drawings. And this goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers, okay? So out of this 299 drawings, 152 drawings have come up the majority of odd numbers. 147 drawings have come up the majority of even numbers. Okay, so as I go back to the Powerball homepage, you can see that the 12 is even, 15's odd, 28's even, 47's odd, and 48's even. So the majority is even numbers 3-2. So you can see that the last drawing had 3 even numbers. Again, that's for the 12, 28, and 48. And then 2 odd numbers for the 15 and the 47. Okay. So the majority goes to the evens, and I added 1 to it, so now it's up to 147. Okay, so what I do is I like to keep track of every 5 drawings, and again, because I want to see a majority, okay? So this last 5, the majority was evens, 5 drawings to 0, and before that, it was odds, 5 drawings to 0, okay? So as I look at this here, I can see that there was the majority of odd numbers here for these last 15 drawings, okay? And then there was a couple of evens, odds, odds, okay? So as I head back up through, I just feel that this is going to be evens right here, okay? So I think the majority of the numbers will be evens, okay? So when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, I want them, at least 3 of them, to be even numbers, okay? So I'm going to head down through. Now you can see the high and low. All the high numbers are considered red. All the low numbers are considered blue. Okay, so this is 147 to 152. All right. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. And here you can see that left and right, 148 drawings were the majority to the left side and 151 to the majority to the right side. Okay, so I'm going to pick that. I believe that more numbers will be here to the left side than the right side when the 5 numbers come up, okay? So it's just a gut feeling, all right? And then the last one that I have is this red and blue area, okay? You can see that the red has really been dominant, 173 drawings to 126 drawings, okay? But for some reason, I think it's going to be blue, all right? So we'll see what happens, okay? And then the last thing I have here is the Powerball number itself, the red ball. Okay, so if you don't know much about the Powerball lottery, there's 69 white ball numbers, and out of those 69 numbers, you have to get 5 numbers correct. Okay, and then there's 26 red ball numbers where you have to get 1 of those numbers correct. Okay, so if you get all 6 numbers correct, then you win the jackpot. In this drawing, it's the jackpot's worth $50 million. Okay, but again, I love to win that, of course, but my goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win that $2 million prize. Okay, so as I look at this, I think that this is going to be another red number. Okay, so as I go down through, I mean, red had a little run right down here, but I think it's ready to have another one. So I think this is going to be red, and I think that this is going to be red as well. Okay, so I think that the red Powerball number will be a high odd number. Okay, so we'll see what happens. So I'm going to go back to the game card here. I'm going to scroll to the right. And you can see for the 50-50 picks, again, I think the majority will be even numbers and the majority to this left side. Okay, so this automatically means that I'm going to pick the 12, 33, and 35. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 6, picking the numbers I hope will hit from group 2. Okay, so I'm back here at the group 2, and you can see that I have 15 of these option cards, and they all have the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other, from each different option card. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is that there's 15 red areas, there's 15 blue areas, 15 orange, and so on. Okay. So I like to keep track of that, and I call that the Group 2 overview. So I'm going to go to that right now. Okay, so this is the Group 2 overview right here. Okay, and how you read this is that on the left side is the hits, and on the right side is the misses. Okay, so for the 15 option cards in Group 2, this means that there was a winning Powerball on 8 of the option cards, and 7 option cards had no winning Powerball to it at all. Okay, so with this red area, there was 8 of them and 7 misses. So the number that really sticks out here is the 8. Okay, 8 will show me a majority of things out of 15. Okay, so if there's 8 or more hits, I color the background red for hot. If there's 8 or more misses, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so I just really like looking at the colors. Okay, to tell you the truth here. Okay, so when I look at this, I think that there's going to be lots of hits in this orange area. Okay, now again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. But the reason why I'm picking this is because I see 3 blue marks here, 3 more down here, and then there's 6 right here, and then 5, and then 3 again. So I just think it's due to have a couple of these 2 marks here, okay? Where there's only 2 blue marks, and then there'll be red above it, okay? So I hope that's what's going to happen. And again, that means that there's going to be lots of hits among those 15 option cards. Okay, so I'll show you how this works. Okay, so lots of hits among the orange areas of Group 2. So these numbers in the yellow stand for option cards. Okay, so I'm going to go back to option card number 1 here in Group 2. And I'm just concentrating on the orange area. And that runs from the 3 down to the 59. Okay, so I look at this, the 3 down to the 59, the only one left is the 35. So I wrote that down right here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next option card. You can see it runs from the 17 to the 24. Okay, so I look at the 17 to the 24, and the ones that came up is the 22 and the 24, so I wrote that down. Okay, so I did that with all 15 option cards, and these are the numbers that stand out. Okay, so I'm off to the last strategy, and that's strategy number 7, picking my numbers. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right, and the numbers that I'm going to go with for this drawing are the 12, 22, 30, 33, and 35. Okay, so with this combination of numbers, this will give me 11 hits, 4 misses in that orange area. Okay, so I'll show you a visual on that. Okay, so again, this is the orange area. And I think that this will be an 11 and a 4. 11 and 4 equals 15. Okay, and since it's more than 8 hits, hopefully I'll be coloring it like this. Okay, so this is what I hope will happen. Okay. So again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 12, 22, 30, 33, and 35. Okay, so again, in the 50-50 picks, I thought there was going to be more even numbers than odd numbers. So you can see that the 12, 22, and 30 will make that happen for me. Okay. And then I thought more to the left side than the right side. So you can see that 12, 33, and 35 will make that happen for me as well. Okay, so another thing is, as I go back to the individual numbers, remember I said I thought that this will be a 3, okay? A 3 group. Like so, okay? So as I go back to the game card here, you can see that 12 is in one group, 22's in another group, but these 330 numbers are in one group as well. So that would give me 1, 2, 3 groups. Okay, so that's why I'm going with this. Okay, and that's how I use my game. Okay, so it's just a fun game to play. So if you're interested in playing, please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Again, that's decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Okay, I charge $10 a month, okay? And there's either 8 or 9 games depending on the way the month works, okay? So basically when you break this down, I do charge $10 a month, so it comes out to like $1.25 per game, okay? So that's about it. So I really appreciate you watching. If you like my channel, if you like the content, then please subscribe, okay? And as always, I just want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.